In this video, I'm going to show you what to do if your Karcher pressure washer isn't turning on. You have water pressure from the hose, it's plugged in, switched on, and the pump doesn't engage. If you haven't already seen it, first take a look at my earlier video which shows you how to remove an airlock without having to dismantle the pressure washer. If you've tried that and your Karcher pump is still not turning on, this video will show you what to do next. So first we need to remove the pressure washer hose from the pressure washer unit. Before you do that here, just make sure your lance doesn't have any pressure in. If you pull the trigger gun, just make sure, and then disconnect the hose from there. Now there is a little clip here, mine's loose, so I can pull it out. If it's a bit stiff, you can always use a pair of pliers just to pull it off. And then this should pull down, you might need to give it a wiggle, and then feed that through the pressure washer unit to the front and disconnect. Next, we need to remove this plate here, just so we can sit it down on the front a bit easier. And there's two Phillips screws that need to be removed. Once they've been removed, these are big plastic pegs which need to come out. Again, if they're stuck in there, you can always use a screwdriver to help them out. And that should allow the front tray to disconnect. Now this next bit, although not essential, I prefer to do it, is to remove the netting from the back. And then it just allows this to be moved out of the way. We need to also disconnect this so that once we remove the pump from the back, that this isn't going to get in the way. So you can unscrew that, and then I'm just going to remove the filter as well, just so that I can keep it safe. Next, there are 10 T15 Torx screws that need to be removed. There's 2 underneath here, and then 2 near the wheels, 2 here, 2 there, and 2 at the top. The next thing to remove is this elbow here, which connects to the pump inside. There is a little C-clip here that needs to be removed, but it's a bit difficult to get a screwdriver in at that angle. So you can push it up here if you've got something thin, a thin screwdriver or something to push it up. This then twists slightly to the side, clockwise, and then it should pull out. Like so, it's a bit stiff. With all that removed, the back should lift off now. Just watch the electrical cable at the side just to unhook that, and that comes off easily. So to remove the pump from the front part of the case, there's 4 things to check. This just needs to be moved to the side to disconnect it from the cradle. Be careful with the switch stick that goes into the toggle at the front, because it's long and it could snap easily if you're not careful. And then the hose pipe needs to be disconnected either from here or from the dispenser bottle cradle at the top. And then also where the hose pipe goes in on the other side, that will lift out. disconnected. Now it should lift out without any problems. Like so. That's what you've got to be careful of. If you do disconnect it from this side, just be careful that you don't lose the little plastic ball bearing that sits behind this shuttle that moves it within the pipe. When handling the pump, there's a bit of weight behind it and there's this plastic bit on the bottom which you obviously don't want to smash. So if you get a towel and just fold it up a few times, that'll just mean it provides a bit of cushioning for that to reduce the chance of it smashing. To get to where the pressure switch is, I'm going to have to remove this plate, which means this bit's got to come off first. So here there's another C-clip. If you just get a screwdriver behind it, it slides out. Like so. And then this bit will just ease it off. There we go, and it pops off. There'll be a rubber seal around it. The pressure switch is inside here. Now there is a C-clip to remove, but I'm not sure whether or not if I disconnect that, whether this will bend enough to get it out of the base of the pump there. So the safest thing to do is to undo the 4 Allen key bolts that are holding on the whole head assembly. So that's what I'm going to do next. These bolts are tight, so be careful when trying to use leverage that you don't snap any of the plastic parts surrounding the metal pump. To get this one undone, just make sure you don't snap this in the process. Now it's starting to remove the whole pump assembly there, and I'm not sure, this might need to come off first, so I'm going to remove it just in case I don't want to snap it. That's not too bad. Here's a quick look around the head before I remove it. So now that's been loosened, this should be able to pop off. This plastic pipe has a rubber washer where it slots into the base, so should just pull out. That slides off. I'm just going to remove the head. So there's the pressure switch.
The control panel just unhooks from the side of the pump assembly, but has wires running into the pump body, so I'm just going to move it to the side. Here are the spring-loaded pistons.
And then there's the oscillating plate that spins around. And there is on here these notches that attaches to.
I'm just going to try pulling out the pressure valve using some snipe-nosed pliers.
Now inside here, if you pull it apart, there's a spring, and then there's a little red shuttle. Goes there, and then inside there, ooh, didn't lose it. There's a little metal ball bearing. Now I've looked inside there. That also looks clean. There's no dirt in there, so I don't think this is the problem. And you can see when you put this back in, one of the ends is recessed, so that's the one that goes on the ball bearing. And then the spring and the cap, push it down. And that goes in there. Now there's a little bit of rust from the C-clip, but inside there it looks clean. There's no issues. So I'm going to put that back on. It just pushes into place. Whereas this bit here, this looks like there's a bit of grease, but this bit feels like it's jamming a little bit. Now I think that's the bit that needs greasing, but I'm not sure how to take it apart. Unless this unscrews.
You just pull it up to remove.
Right. There is a bit of grease in there. If I push. Now it could be that this needs greasing, so this is what I'm going to do next. Now I have some waterproof silicone grease, so this is the sort of thing that I think should be used. Just coating that bit and the seal around there. Also put a bit around the seal in there. Push that back through. Feeling like it wants to go down. Just got to push it a bit harder. Let me just test it now. does feel a lot smoother. So I'll put this back on, just put a bit of the grease on there. I think it's the white grease that was on there is a bit old. Just right, I'm going to wipe that, clean it, and then put it back on the head of the pump. Actually, while this head's off, I think I'm going to put some more grease in here as well, because it does look like some of it's a bit old.
I'm also going to put some into the chamber where the piston sits. I've put the grease onto the side of the pump chamber, although I think it would be better putting it onto the oscillating plate so it gets circulated around the moving parts faster.
Right, so when reattaching this bit needs to go next to this electrical connector box. So I'll put that in first. And then this bit sits on those two prongs. That, and then the head, just make sure the surface is clean. And this bit points out here, and this pipe needs to go on as well. I just noticed actually that looks a bit dry. I'm just going to put a bit of grease on there as well. There's another O-ring on here as well, so I'm greasing that up. So that needs to go in there. And then this bit pops into the hole there. Make sure that connector, that hose outlet is lined up parallel.
Make sure the pipe is seated properly. I nearly tightened mine up when it wasn't.
To put the clip back on here, but because this was a bit stiff, I'm just going to put a bit of grease on that as well. So it's not going to slide out on its own accord, but it's just to lock the plastic pipe onto the pump. So through here, you need to be able to see straight through there. These have little triangle notches on them, and that needs to be up flush against that. So just push it on. There we go, it's in. So within the case, the pump's going to sit on here. Make sure this toggle switch is in the same direction as the switch on the control panel, and then it's making sure as well that the hose pipe locates through there as well. So here this goes into there, and then that bit rests here. So you've just got to line those two things up. And then next is to reattach that onto the sleeve. So there's a notch in it there. It needs to go into here. Need to attach the elbow that goes to the outside of the case. So that points forward. So just make sure that O-ring's there. Sometimes it goes inside the pump. And then that needs to be pushed down again so that this clip can go through. Looks like it rusts a bit, so put a bit more grease on there. And then I'll slide it through this. No, do this side. It doesn't really matter, but there we go. Make sure that this comes just slightly pokes out the other side, just to make sure it's got a good grip. And then we need to reattach this hose to the top there. My hands are greasy, so it's snippy. And then there is also just a little clip for the hose to go into there. The next step is to put the case on the back. So get that through the hole first, then check the cable, make sure that's not getting snagged on the side, and then it literally just slots into place. Now, this came off first, so I'm going to put this back on before I tighten up the other screws around the outside, just in case it doesn't go on very well. So it started off at maybe a 2 o'clock position if you had this pressure washer stood upright. So push that down and then twist it, and it clicks to lock. And then we need the C-clip to go through from the top. Make sure you can see all the way through. I'll just show you. Make sure here see there. Make sure that you can see through on both sides before pushing the clip in. Might need to use something like this to push it all the way in, because it's hard to get. Ooh. Oops. The clip's on okay. So now we need to put all the 10 Torx screws back into the case to hold it all together. Make sure it's all nipped up nice first, which it is. And then this needs to go on. Now, I would keep this bit towards the bottom, just so it doesn't get in the way when you're wrapping up the electrical cord. And the next bit we need to do is, just make sure that works, yeah, is put the filter and the cap back onto front. My hands are greasy, so I'm just going to use a cloth to turn it up. And then next we need to put the front tray back on. So slide that on. And these push back through, just line them up so that the flat edges go between the grooves. Like so. And then there's a couple of screws just to hold those in. I'm going to get a better screwdriver, that one's not very good. These don't need to be overly tight, it's just to stop them coming out. And finally we just need to reconnect the pressure washer hose. So the hose goes through the front first. Clips in at the back. And finally this little clip just needs to go through to hold it in place and stop it from coming off. Done. Before switching it on, I'm just going to let it run to get any air bubbles out. So disconnect the lamps. Okay, back in, switch it on.
That's it, all fixed. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful. If it's helped you, please help me by liking and subscribing to my channel. It's free to do, and it just means that any future videos I release will automatically appear on your feed without you having to search for them. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.